Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to The Spark. Today, I'm here with Sebastian Wolfgram. I'm Wyatt Frazier. I'm sitting down with a longtime friend, someone that I respect a lot for his work ethic and just killer business mind. And I really just want to get started for those watching that are curious about, where are we right now?
Of course. Thank you, Wyatt, for having me. I'm excited to be on here. I know this is Wyatt's one of his first podcasts, and he's going to have many more to come. So if you guys want to subscribe to the podcast, follow as well. But one thing, you just mentioned was, where are we? This is my shop. If you guys didn't know, 4030 Sinton Road here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. This is where I make a lot of my money. This is where I make opportunities happen, and this is where home base is for business. So it looks kind of small behind me. I know it kind of does because the room kind of cuts off, but this is just a very, very small portion of how large the shop is. We have about 7 different cars wrapped around, 6 different cars wrapped around the corner, and it's about 6,000 square feet. We have a whole nother side for product distribution with the products behind me, the ceramics, the products. And this is where it all happens. So here in Colorado Springs, if you guys ever want to stop in, Show Car Auto Spa, 4030 Sinton Road. And, that's where we're at. This is where I moved in last year after working out of a small storage unit. And I know I needed to expand. And the best thing you could ever do in business is, spend money to make more money. So yes, this is where I came from. And I know business is always something, fun to talk about. But, Wyatt, I just want to congratulate you for, actually doing the podcast. I've talked to Wyatt before, and he has, always talked about doing a podcast. And I just told him exactly the steps that would need to be done to be able to get this thing done. And he actually took initiative, which initiative in business or anything that you do in life is the most important thing. So congratulations, Wyatt.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
We've done a previous take, but this one's going to turn out a lot better.
This one will be the golden take. Yes. No, dude, I'm excited to be here, be doing it right, and really capturing what makes you unique and worth having on, which is, as you stated just now, you're doing a lot. You got your hands in a lot of different, ponds between actual like service industry and product distribution. Mm-hmm. I know you're getting into like social media marketing, and that's very exciting, especially for you guys listening. If any of you have an idea that you want to get pushed out there and really be able to market, this is your guy. He knows what he's doing, and he's shown it over the last 2 years. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we've known each other for, a long time, since high school, and I've watched you go from like having ideas to putting them into action, taking that initiative and then growing them through your understanding of social media marketing and just the way the internet works and how to get people's attention down to the nitty-gritty details. Mm-hmm. That's something I really respect about you, is your ability to understand like the core psychology to like how marketing works, and especially how to use like new age social media, of course, to grow whatever your business is. It doesn't have to be car detailing, but you and I both love cars, and you capitalized on it and started getting into detailing. And I think it's interesting. I'd love for you to share kind of your journey from the beginning when you were working a typical job that a lot of people are probably in and are trying to get out of, and like, what was the breaking point for you, and then the following steps of how you got out of like that road and then making your own money? Of course. Really being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it wasn't something I wanted to do all the time, was work at a job. We worked at Chick-fil-A together, if you guys didn't know.
Yep.
And
Were you the fry guy? I was talking to Ben about that earlier.
I did fries. I was mainly on sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Yeah, I was making sandwiches.
From making your favorite spicy chicken to polishing your favorite car.
Thank you, Chick-fil-A.
What a journey.
Thank you for Chick-fil-A. Sponsor today is Chick-fil-A, and also Show Car Care, Show Car Ceramics are sponsoring this.
Right here.
And if you guys want to include your brand into this podcast, you guys can email Wyatt, and he'll get you guys all plugged in.
Yes.
But thank you, Chick-fil-A. He brought this today.
I did. I had to keep him. Hungry and not hungry. He was. I had to keep him fed. So we'd be able to make it through, man.
I was starving. So I worked at 2 different jobs. I worked at View House. I worked at Chick-fil-A first. Yeah. And then I worked at View House. Both 1 year. It was just pretty much 1 year. I was 16 to 18, and I was genuinely sick of working for someone else. Yes. It's good in a good position whenever you have like a good boss. You could genuinely, see opportunities. But if there's no opportunities, there's nowhere to go. And you start to it starts to get repetitive, and I don't like repetitive. I like new things all the time. I like having nice things. Ever growing up, whenever I grew up, I always wanted the new Jordans. I always wanted the new electronics. And that was one thing is my parents weren't going to give me it. I had to go figure out how to get it. I was at these jobs, and I figured out I was broke. Like, I literally would get these paychecks, and I would go broke because, obviously, I wanted to spend money. Didn't understand why I was working there, and I wanted to find, like, a purpose to be able to, like, go out and do something. I really liked cars. I started getting into cars a little bit, and I realized that there was a lot of money to be made. And just like real estate, everybody always says, like, oh, there's so much money in real estate to be made. There's also a lot of money in cars.
I know. Dude, in high school, it was like every 2 months you'd be rolling into the parking lot with a new car. A different car. And I was like, man, you're making the right moves because, a lot of people are, some people aren't really too concerned about what car they drive, but understanding it's not necessarily, and it's not just about what car you drive, but how to, leverage it really, which is what you did a really good job of.
It's something, if I really love a car, I'm going to get it. If I genuinely really love a car, I'm going to go get it. And I really don't care what other people think because there could be a car that could be totally different than what most people would usually drive, but I just want to drive it because it seems fun. I want to experience every single car. I want to experience. They're all unique. I feel like every car I've driven has been pretty unique. Now, whenever I was working these jobs and everything like that, I was flipping my personal cars. And I noticed it worked. I was always flipping electronics when I was 13 I had mowing businesses. Like for my 10th birthday, for example, I asked for a lawnmower for my birthday. And that definitely was a little bit different.
That's much different than the most Nintendo or whatever.
Yeah, it was a little bit different. I wasn't allowed to have video games, so that kind of affected a lot of things. Whenever it came down to, and now I don't even know how to play video games. I have an Xbox right there. I've never turned it on. I don't know how to play it. I just hit buttons and I hope it works.
Yeah. The button spam.
Yeah, and you just hope. You just hope. So I was 10 years old, started mowing lawns, and I made good money with that. And I eventually started flipping electronics. So I took that mowing money and I started buying electronics. And I started flipping them. And it worked out pretty well. Just buying iPhones that were I was really, really good at electronics and figuring out how to bypass stuff. So I'd buy these locked out iPhones, and then I just pretty much plug in my computer and just get back into them, and then I'd sell them for more. So I'd buy them for $50 to $100, sell them for $300 to $400. It worked out pretty well. And I continued to do that. I did the same thing with MacBooks, iPads, PCs, and I started just flipping them, and it worked out. So I just eventually. My parents told me I needed a job. They wanted me to work for someone else, and I wanted a job. I'm not going to say my parents were forcing me or anything like that. I wanted a job when I was 14 years old, but I kind of wanted to wait until I got a car. My first car was a Jeep Cherokee XJ, $1,200. Bought it. It was white, 1999. Bought it for $1,200. Sold my computer I had at the time, which I do all my homework on.
The dual edge.
I bought that for $500. Sold it for $1,200. Bought my car. That day. So pretty exciting stuff. I think it was just happened for the right reasons. Yeah. And I learned that I can make money off of this thing. So I bought my first car when I was 15 and I flipped it. Started understanding titles, how those worked, and I sold it right after I turned 16 for $4,000. So I took that $1,200, turned into $4,000 within a few months, and didn't really do too much to it. So I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah,
you couldn't go wrong. And then I continued just flipping my personal cars every couple months, maybe every month. I'd just be flipping cars until I got to where I wanted. Now that really came into play when I was obviously working. I kind of noticed I could make money flipping stuff, and so I went back to my roots when I was working at View House. It was after COVID. It was after COVID. Yes, it was after COVID.
It was after I moved already.
I was so bored. Yeah. I was just I was in the restaurant industry. Yeah. And you just kind of just sit there and you're just man, what am I doing here?
What else?
Yeah. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And so I started noticing that there was a lot of electronics coming up for sale, and things were selling pretty quickly. Prices were going pretty fast. And I kind of noticed there was a lot of money to be spent and not as many things on the market because people were kind of holding on to things. And that's how all this whole inflation really thing happened, and prices were increasing. But yeah, I was pretty much started selling my personal electronics, and things were selling like crazy. I was like, wow, this is, this could work again. So I went back to my roots, started flipping electronics at the end in November of 20. So November of 2020, I flipped like a few electronics. It was more my personal stuff. Just kind of got rid of things. I was like, I want money.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this. And I started with $100, guys. Like I had $100 in my bank account. Wyatt knows this.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this. Like,
start humbly.
Yeah. I started with 100. I had nothing else. I didn't have enough money for gas. I didn't know if I was going to make it home sometimes, and I was like very, very scared because one time I had negative draw on my bank account, and so I sold my camera that I had at the time. Dang. And it paid off. Like that's me selling that camera was the best decision I ever made because like that fueled me. I was like, okay, well I have this money right now. I got to make more. I'm sick of not having money because I left my job.
Yeah.
I left.
Then you're in the deep waters and you got to learn how to swim.
I got to learn. Like, and that's one thing is like people don't realize you get so comfortable and you get in these like kind of like paces and it feels nice. It's like, okay, well I can just live out this.
It's
job.
just people inherently like to be comfortable and then therefore don't have to question what they're going to do. Like they're not questioning, am I going to be able to make rent if they're able to make rent, right? And so then they're like, okay, cool, I'll go slave and like do what I, even if it's nothing that I'm interested in, at least I'll be okay and I can chill at home and like there's no question about my safety, and people get way too stuck into that. So they get
really stuck and they feel comfortable, which it's good for some people. I'm not saying everybody's going to be a good business owner. I'm not saying that everybody's going to be, good at going out there and making money. There's just some people that know where money's at and they know how to get it.
Right.
And it's not even really about the money, but I'll get into that later. Whenever it came down to me flipping stuff, I was flipping the electronics, and I obviously quit my job. And this was January. So January of 21, didn't have a job, and I had a few $100, and I started flipping weight sets. So
That's
I went.
right. Yeah, I remember that.
January 1st, 2021, 6 a.m. in the morning, went to Walmart, and all of the Walmarts in town, I bought all the weight sets. They're selling for like $30, $40 a pop. Like 100-pound weight sets. Yeah. And I'd sell them on Marketplace for $200.
Are you talking like the interchangeable little dumbbells?
No, right? the whole bars and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had like a squatted Forerunner for a little bit.
Weighed down with like 7 gyms.
And I'd sell them out of the back of my Forerunner. So I'd sell them for $100 to $200. And as long as I was making money, as long as I was getting at least 80 out of them, I would sell them.
Yeah.
Double my money right then and there. And so I did that they sold out in 2 days. So I bought them that day. I was selling them like crazy. The next day I was selling them like crazy. By the third, I sold them all, and I had about $2,700 at that point on the third. And so I tried to figure out, okay, what's the next move? I knew I needed to buy a car because I knew how to do it. Obviously, I've done it before, and I think it'd work out pretty well. And what better than a Jeep Cherokee XJ?
Yeah.
The thing that I started out with.
Back to the roots.
Yeah, back to the roots.
That's
and that's always the one thing is like, if I was in a situation, I always knew to go back to where I started because it worked. It's always worked. And it's worked for me because I learned it. And whenever I learn something or I do something, I dedicate everything to it. And that's how I'm able to, learn markets and learn, what sells well. Jeep Cherokee XJs. They're just insane out here in Colorado. Bought this one on January 4th for $2,500. It's a black one. I have photos of it. And I bought it, and it was like 0 degrees outside for it was like a 4 or 5 day like cold snap. I was like, I got to sell this thing. I have $200 to my name, and I got insurance coming out soon. I got a gas,
The
food.
pressure was on.
And like, that was a lot of money. That's the most money I've ever had in my life was $2,700. So giving up 25 of that to risk it all and see what happens. Yeah. It was scary. So I had this Jeep Cherokee XJ, worked out pretty well. I bought it for $25, and I cleaned it in 0 degree weather. My chemicals were freezing. I didn't know at all what I was doing. I was just hoping it looked shiny and I could sell it. So I eventually posted it on Marketplace the next day, and I sold it within 3 days. I believe I bought it on a Tuesday or on a Monday. I believe I bought it on Monday, if I'm correct, and I sold it on a Thursday. So on that Thursday, pretty much it was the 7th. Yeah, it was the 7th. So I sold it on that day. I sold it for $4,000 even. So I knew it at least sell for $4,000.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was going to work out.
Yeah.
It was very mechanically sound. I had all the mechanics checked out on it. Like everything was looking good. Cleaned it up. Sold it for $4,000. Eventually moved on to the next car.
And then the next.
And then the next. So
that grew.
That month, I started out with $100. Or I started with a few hundred on that month because I was kind of just flipping electronics in that December era. And I had within the last of the month, I had 4 cars flipped. I had a Jeep, I had an SUV, like a Lexus SUV.
Yeah.
I had a Dodge or like a Dodge truck that I flipped, and then I also had another Jeep. So I had 4 cars, and at the end of the month, I had $13.3K in cash.
There you go.
By the end of January.
Making moves.
Pretty solid. Awesome. I was still flipping like electronics and weight sets because obviously like cars can take a little bit longer to flip sometimes. I can get them sold within the same day. I've done that many, many times, but at that point I was still learning. I was still selling what worked. So I was just still doing, a couple $100 and making, just flipping electronics and weight sets. Worked out pretty well. So 13.3K by the end of that month. In February, it was so cold. It was ridiculously cold. So I only flipped like 2 cars. And then after that, March, April, May, it was insane. Within those 6 months, I mean, I had like 5 cars in inventory at all times.
Damn.
Yeah, I'd be buying cars and flipping them same day.
How are you able to, at this point in time, how are you able to manage having like the 5 cars, all at once, like that kind of inventory?
Keep them in different places.
Yeah. Yeah, different lots.
Yeah, different areas.
Overnight lots and stuff. Yeah. No, I get you.
Friends' houses and just
utilizing
finding places. Yeah, and at this point, I graduated. I graduated high school at this point, and I graduated like 6 months early. Yeah. And I had like 2 college classes, but I was like not wanting to do them. I was like, I just didn't want to. I was still passing them and I was still doing them, but I was like, I can't. I'm gonna get kicked out of my house. I knew, my parents knew, it was just that time. It was the time to go after graduation or after the official walking on stage. Yeah. And so it kind of lit a flame in me and I had to go. Like I had to like make money because like I was scared. Yeah. I was genuinely scared. Like there was just a lot of things weighing on me and I needed to make it work. So, I wasn't really home too much. I was just flipping and just learning and sitting in parking lots waiting for flips. I'd sit in the middle of town in a parking lot and I'd find flips. And if they didn't respond to me within like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I would find landmarks in the photos of the where the cars are on Facebook and Craigslist. And I'd find landmarks or addresses or street names or familiar houses that I could possibly go on Google Maps and try to search for. Familiar roundabouts. Like so, if I could see that there's a cul-de-sac at the end of the road, I'll just go and look at every single cul-de-sac that it looks like it's in the area. I've done reverse searches on names, so I'll take like names on Facebook and I'll just reverse search it, phone numbers, and I'll just go on tax sites.
You were digging deep to make sure you got these deals.
To get these deals because I knew I could make money off of it. So I'd do that and I'd always find their address. And so what I would do is just take that address, go to the Google Maps, knock on the door, be like, hey, I happen to be in the neighborhood. I saw you posted I live up the road. And
I'd be like, oh, well, I guess
they'd be like, oh, well, I have someone coming from an hour away. It's always someone from Denver who's coming down, like from an hour from now, because, this is just how it all worked out. And they were like, yeah, I have someone coming down from Denver in like an hour. I'm like, well, I'm right here with cash. I'd always keep cash, and it worked. So I would talk to them, and I'd just be like, hey, let them know not to come, and I'll get the deal done for you. And sometimes I'll offer them more than what they're asking because I knew I'd still make money.
Right.
It's not about
margin.
As long as there's a margin, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So I just continued to do that. And I did it for 6 months, and I eventually got kicked out in June. Got kicked out in
June of 21.
June 1st, pretty much, yeah.
Right. And you moved into detailing. Was it October or September you went and got the van?
It was in October.
October of 21.
I bought it in the end of September, but as I was flipping these cars, I learned how to detail. I bought an extractor, I bought all the products I need. I learned what was a good product, what was a bad product. I got away from Armor All.
Yep.
I learned my lesson.
That's the rookie move right there is Armor All.
It is, it's so shiny.
Yeah. It's greasy. It leaves grease on.
Yeah, you just don't know. And I started getting greasy hands. I'm like, this isn't fun. So I started understanding maybe different products might be better. Now I have my own products, so I'm gonna shout those out. If you guys are flipping cars or doing any detailing work, or you start a detailing company yourself, grab some show car care chemicals available at showcarcare.com. And also, if you guys want to get into ceramics, it's a big market. showcarceramics.com.
This is the guy. I'll leave links in the bottom of this video for you guys to check out if you either want to buy products or reach out and become an affiliate of Show Car Ceramics, because I know you're offering that these days.
Yep, and Show Car Care. We do affiliates for everybody. I want everybody to have an opportunity, because I wish I had certain opportunities growing up, and I just realized I had to make them. So I'm trying to do as much as I can for people around me. Going back to the story, there was. I flipped a lot of cars in 6 months. I kept track. I was flipping just all of them, as much as I could. And I eventually started getting into higher stuff like Porsches and, just nicer things like pickup trucks, things I can, buy for 5 to 8 and then sell for 10 to 12. Those are always nice. Right. Make more profit. Right. But I would obviously have them fixed if there was anything wrong with them. I would have them cleaned, and I would actually post them for way below market. Because, obviously I want them to be sold automatically. I don't want to wait on them.
That's a big thing you've taught me, and I've heard you preach is moving quick with your money and not
don't try to get every single
the perfect
dollar.
Opportunity.
Yeah, don't try to get every single dollar out of it. Move on to the next thing. It needs to be done. Yeah. So I'd usually just post these cars and they'd be sold within the same day. Because I'd post them below market and they'd be getting a deal. I'd be getting my money. Everybody's happy. Why would I try to sell them at an insane price? Move on to the next thing. Let's keep on going. And that's what's really helped me. And that allowed me to move cars very, very quickly and make as much money as possible. So during those times, was making really, really decent money a month. And I got kicked out of my house. I couch surfed for 3 months, and I was still flipping cars. I definitely was a lot. I had a lot of cars at one point. But I figured out I needed to start a business. I was like, how am I going to really make this into it? My only option is to start some type of dealership. And I'm like, it's not exciting. Yeah. It's not exciting. I like cars, but I don't want to do that. So I don't really find that enticing. So what I found out was I need to start a business. I need to start something where I can start hiring people. And I was like, what is one way I could do this? Now I was getting into real estate. I was in class to get my real estate license because I was like, I didn't want to do college. So I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I'm scrolling on Instagram, and I just sold my Jeep at the time. It was a Jeep Wrangler. I bought it for $18,000, and this was my personal car, and I sold it for $25,000, $26,000.
I think it was a tank.
I think it was a beast. Yeah. I loved it, and I got it for a steal, and I sold it for a really good price. So I had the cash at that point, and all of a sudden I'm scrolling on Instagram, and all of a sudden I come across this van. It's bagged van, and you guys will see videos of it. It's a Ford Transit 2015 with air suspension, big Brembos, full detailing, everything on the inside.
The stars couldn't have aligned better.
It was insane. It was a Friday. Yeah, it was a Friday. It was a Friday. If you guys ever want to, you guys can move that big trash bin that they didn't take out. I told them to.
It's a working shot. This place stays active.
Yeah, we stay very, very active.
Very active.
As much as possible. I bought the van. It was about the same price, but I got a steal on it because I knew how much it would be to build the van. The van would be $50,000-$60,000.
Yeah, it'd be a lot. Considering the air suspension.
Yeah, suspension.
The full trim of it.
Yeah, everything. It has Recaro seats on the inside, things gnarly. So I knew what the value was. I knew he was going to sell it that weekend. So it was that Friday night. I was like, okay, I'm just going to buy it tomorrow. I'm just going to fly out there and buy it. So I pretty much texted the guy. He didn't believe me. I don't think he thought I was actually going to buy it because I was just, young teenager. I was 17, 18. I was 18 at the time. Yeah, I was 18 because I moved out. I was 18 at the time, and I was like, yo, I want to buy this. He was asking 20 something. I offered him $2,000 less, and we met in the middle, and he was like, all right, if you want to buy it, come out here tomorrow and buy it. I'm like, oh God. So I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, what do I do? And he's like, all right, you either do the real estate. He's like, I really want you to do the real estate. He's like, I don't know about this whole van thing. And I'm like, let me just try it. I just want to see if it works. Yeah. So I knew I could make it work because obviously that's a lot of the money I had. Yeah. And I was like, was like, I can make it work. I genuinely can. So booked the plane ticket for Saturday morning I was supposed to land at 10 a.m. out of Colorado Springs to Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
Flew in with a cashier's check. He met me there. I was like, dude, I'm flying in. I don't think he didn't believe me.
Yeah.
He thought I was like trolling
Send
him.
him a snap.
Yeah.
LAX. You're like, bro, I'm here. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
I like pulled up and he was out front and he was like, holy crap. Like, you are a man of your word. He's like, I've never had anyone else be so quick, so vigilant, and straightforward. And I told him, I was like, I just want to buy it and I'll be there.
Yeah.
And so I gave him the cashier's check. He was very happy. The whole day he was getting the windshield replaced, tires replaced, whatever needed to get done to the van so I could make it back safely. Loaded up the van with all the equipment, showing me the equipment. And I was like, perfect. I understand most of this because you've
used a power washer.
I've used a power washer. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I know how to detail. I just need to be able to take this back to Colorado.
Right.
But the only thing is like, I was flipping a car and I had someone already flying in on that Monday from Michigan, I believe, and they're buying a Toyota Tacoma. I bought this thing for $3,000 and I'm selling it on Monday for $12,000.
You can't let that.
It was either Sunday or Monday. Yeah. It was Sunday. It was Sunday.
You flew in on Friday.
I flew in on Saturday.
16 hours back to Colorado.
No. It was on Monday. It was on Monday.
Okay. I was going to say it was
on Monday.
That's crunching it. But you got to do what you got to do to get it done.
So I was there on that Saturday. So it was the whole day it took to be able to get everything exchanged, and then that night I took off. It was like sunset. Was heading to my first stop was Vegas.
Yeah.
So I headed to Vegas. On my way there, it was sunset in the middle of the desert in California, and I blew a back tire.
That adds some excitement.
I blew a back tire, and I eventually found myself on the side of the road, and it wasn't even like blue. It shredded. It like shredded itself. It like, I don't know what exactly happened.
Yeah.
But I eventually ended up in the middle of nowhere, and nothing against her, but this lady came up to me. She obviously had a disability, and she was trying to help me. And I was like, there's nothing you could possibly do.
Right. I need AAA.
I have four tires, spare tires, but I have no jack.
That's, yeah, okay.
That's where I was at, right? I was like, and then you're trying to help me, and you don't have a jack either. I'm like, I just need a jack.
Yeah.
I just need a jack.
Why didn't we bring a jack?
And she's like, hey, I'm going to go home and like find a jack. I'm like, okay, perfect. And she like is gone for like 30, 45 minutes, and she comes back with no jack.
You're like, you had one job.
I'm like, what happened? Like, where did you go? No. Like, there's people like mobbing in the desert in their Can-Ams. And I'm like just standing, like just waiting.
Yeah.
Finally, I kind of like get into a gas station because I'm like, I need to find someone. And these nice gentlemen helped me out. They actually came over and had a jack and knocked it out within like a minute.
That's awesome.
I was like, perfect. I was like, can I tip y'all? Like, what can I do? Like, y'all, did that for me.
Yeah.
But they're very, very happy to help. So went back on the road. I was, I needed to make it back in time. Yeah. So I got into Vegas. I eventually went to bed at 1 a.m. in the morning, but I had to wake up at 5, and I had like a spare tire. Like it was a whole mess. So I eventually got back. I got into Vegas 1 a.m., woke up at 5 a.m. to be able to leave to Colorado Springs. Yeah. I had to get back. So Vegas, Colorado Springs, usually about 12 to 15 hours depending on traffic. That's literally what it ranges from. Yeah. You never know what you're going to get. So I'm on my way back Sunday. I need to make it back because then Monday morning at 9 a.m. I got to pick this dude up from the airport to be able to sell a truck so I can get some extras.
That's a good deal. You don't. Yeah,
oh, yeah, I cannot miss that. That's like money on the line, Got to make that happen.
Yeah.
And I had to confirm before I even bought the van, so it was happening.
Right.
So I'm booking it. Made it through Utah. Utah was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
That is a great drive. Yeah.
Yes, amazing awesome. Drive, and it was definitely a good experience. And I'd probably do it again if I'm in the right vehicle. Never do it in a van. It was so loud. I was scared. The suspension was falling apart. Yeah, it was terrible.
That does not sound good for a road
Eventually hit Colorado border, and right when I hit that, there was huge thunderstorms rolling in. It was also snowing on Vail Pass.
Yeah, you're going through the backside.
Yeah. Eventually, made it. I was going through the canyons and everything. I was hydroplaning everywhere. I thought I was going to die. I was white knuckling everything. That was a mess. Eventually made it to Vail. And then I was like, do I go over Vail Pass? This is front wheel drive on Japanese tires. These are not meant for snow, rain, sleet There's probably a little bit of hail in there.
Yeah. This was used to the Cali weather.
Yeah, it was like Cali.
Sunshine.
That's it. And I was not prepared. I was so tired. It was probably like 10 p.m. and I was stuck in Vail, maybe 11. It was really late. And so I was deciding if I just want to stay there and then just go back in the morning. But I was like, the calculations didn't make sense because it was going to snow all night and then all in the morning. And I was like, I got to go now.
Yeah.
Had a window, made it up. There was truckers passing me. Like I was about to fall off the cliff. And then at one point they closed down the highway behind me. So I was the only one on the highway.
Damn.
Yeah. I was going up Eisenhower Tunnel. I was the only one.
Must be nice. I wish it was like that every time.
It was just like potholes everywhere, and like I thought it was gonna fall like off the cliff. It was scary. I was like,
"That's
damn."
a drive.
Yeah, that was definitely an experience on front wheel drive, which I wouldn't recommend it. Made it in probably like 2 a.m. in the morning, and it was the most exhausting drive. Had to wake up. I sold the vehicle. I got it done, and I made my money. And nice. At that point, I rested for like 4 days and like planned it out. So I got back like September 27th or something like that. September like 28th. I don't know. One of those days. And I started the company officially October 1st of 2021. And that was when I started it all, Show Car Auto Spa. And I pretty much at that point was planning out everything, kind of deciding on like, how I wanted to target people. And so what I did is I bought an R34 Skyline the day after I got back. I bought an R34 Skyline, the Nissan, right-hand drive, turbo.
It's a beast.
I think it was a beast. Bought that, and I knew it was going to work.
As kind of like a
marketing
child.
Tool.
Yeah, as a marketing tool.
A marketing tool to, post on TikTok. I already understood TikTok. I've had, followers before. I've sold that account. And I knew it was going to work because people wanted to see the car and they know what the car is. And I had the back detail van at the same time. I was like,
dude, I will say, yeah, it was the perfect like eye grabber for what detailing is. Yeah, it was a great play.
Like that was genius. Like I don't think it could have gotten better.
Yeah.
So at that point I was in my garage, and what I did was I posted on TikTok, and all I did was I just put my phone up and I was like, hi, my name's Sebastian. I detail here in Colorado Springs, and I own an R34 Skyline and a bag detail van. Let me know if you need anything. That video got like 1.8 million views.
Damn.
Yeah. It was
That's
like
the power of TikTok. That organic traffic you're able to pull is
nowhere else. It got me my first client. My first client was like $280. I want to go there one time and like just thank her. I'm going to find it one day and just go down there and like just thank her for being my first client and like trusting me.
Right.
And it was a Nissan Altima.
Getting the ball rolling for you.
Yeah, it was a Nissan Altima. She just bought it, and I should do that.
You should. I'm sure she'd love that. That would be cool.
I wonder if she still lives there. But yeah, she answered the door. Very, very nice lady. And down south, and she had a Nissan Altima. She just bought it. It was like 2010, something like that. Just filled with like dog hair, like trying to make it look clean. And I genuinely was so happy I had my first client at that point. The thing was that I was sitting inside my house. I was making dinner, and like I was still flipping cars at the time. So like because I didn't know if it was going to work or not. At that point, I was like still teaching myself how to detail, using the equipment that was inside the van. And all of a sudden my DMs are blowing up nonstop. Hey, how much for a service? How much for a detail? How much for this? How much for that? I was like, wow. And I checked on TikTok. There was like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 views. And it just did not stop. And then eventually that video hit 1.8 million views. And I was booked out for the whole month of October. And I made a good amount of money that month. And just from detailing. And then I was flipping the last of my cars. Yeah. I was flipping until like...
Now what I love about this point in your story, as far as getting into the business of detailing... Mm-hmm. Naturally, 99% of people would say, okay, detailing's working. Like, okay, you had this awesome month in October. You're raking in money. I feel like most people's brain would normally say, like, all right, I need to get better at detailing and learn how to do this better so I can do the jobs faster myself. But what you've said to me before, and which I think is just, it's the best way to put it, is that you're like, dude, I'm not a detailer. I'm a business owner. Yeah. And so that's when I saw you within that first month, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe in November, you got your first employee.
In November, I hired my first employee. And exactly what you said. I didn't want to work in detailing. Like I didn't want to be the one detailing. And I obviously had so much to learn to be able to get efficient. But I personally wanted to work on the company and continue to build it. Right. So I hired my first detailer. Went super smooth. We were locking in jobs. People were booking, and they were happy. Obviously, we had a lot to fix. I was running into issues all the time. Yeah. With different clientele, equipment breaking, and me trying to figure it out. And at that point, I stepped out. I was still like detailing, but I was kind of like running along with him, and just obviously I'd be filming the whole time. I was trying to build the socials so we can get more clients so I could hire more people. Like, that was my goal, was like build the socials, get it up.
Get things to compound and actually grow faster.
Yes, grow faster.
Than you learning how to wipe the mirrors more effectively.
Yep.
Because there's somebody that has done that for longer than you, right? Yep. You know what I mean? So, like, get them on board and then accelerate your speed of being able to actually get things done.
So, early November, I hired my first detailer. Early December, I hired my second detailer, and they ran together. And at that point, I stayed at home.
What did that feel like?
I have a video. I have a video on TikTok, and it was like such a relief. Like, me not having to be able to go out there and like put in that dirty work, which I genuinely like now. Whenever I'm like, whenever I have like employees, I make sure they have as much as they possibly need to be able to get the job done efficiently.
Right.
But like that point, I like wanted to grow the company faster and faster and faster, and I wanted to see it grow. But I knew I had to get out of my garage. At this point, there was no garage set up. Like, there was no like detailing inside the garage. Like, if you guys look at my previous videos, like there was detailing inside my garage at one point. It was just my van. They would just come. They would come park their cars in my townhouse, and then just go inside my van, and then just leave for the day. Yeah. And I would be upstairs just working, making content, editing, whatever I could possibly do. And at that point, I started creating the car chemicals. In November, December, in that area, I started creating the car chemicals because I was like, I hate spending money on car chemicals. I hated it. Yeah. Like, and I knew that I can create my own. And at that point, I was saving and reinvesting all the money I was making. And it was good money coming in from detailing. So I just started creating the car chemicals, started researching, seeing exactly how I could do it. I was looking at different routes, and I just decided, hey, I need to really create a lot of like some signature products that I created and made on my own, and I could be able to, increase revenue and decrease expenses. So I started working on that, but I was still building the brand at that time, and I was still building Showcar and building our following and trying to, get as many contacts as possible, just to be able to build. Right. At that point, I was approached by the news station in December. So at that point, okay, so in December, I was working. I had 2 or 3 guys at that point inside my garage. Yeah. And we started working inside the garage, and I started building like a setup. And at that point, I was like, I need lights. There was no lights. I was working like with like some like fluorescent bulbs in the back.
Those garage lights that are part of like the little garage door thing. Yeah. No lighting comes from
There was
that.
no light. Yeah. We were like using headlamps and trying to figure it out. People were showing up at my house and like, why are we here? Yeah. Like they still pay like $400 or $500 for a detail, which I was like, thank God, like, so I could afford all this. Yeah. But I had to stay out of there as much as possible because I needed to be able to build, capital, build income, build a quality team to be able to get out and get my own shop. At that point, I'm working out of there. We put up I have drywall inside. Yeah. So I did like a plastic film on the walls, and then I put lighting everywhere. Yeah. So at that point, the guys can walk in, they have really, really nice lighting. They're super happy. And that was during whenever we took a break for like, Christmas and New Year's. I make sure we have like a week or 2 off because there's no point in working during that time. We're detailers. We're not, Walmart. Right. We don't need to be working during that time. There's no point. Right. So I'm pretty much building this, and I figure out I need to somehow progress this to where we can get into a shop. So I was like, during the springtime, I need to get a shop. Springtime, it's going to happen.
There you go.
But I was so sick of how cold it was during our mobile details, and we would lose money because some days it would snow, and then, my guys weren't making enough money, so I had to figure it out.
So the garage was the solution.
Garage was the solution. At that point, right when we came back, I had a contract with KOA 5, which is the news station here in Colorado Springs, and they reached out and was wanting to get one of their vehicles done. It was Eric Ross. Shout out, Eric. He was kind of like the manager and investigative reporter there, but he found me on TikTok, reached out, and was like, hey, I want to get one of our cars done. I want to possibly do more in the future. He came over. I explained my story a little bit. He was super intrigued, super, super intrigued. And at that point, he pulled me to the side, and he was like, I want to do a story on you. is it okay if I do like a story? And I'm like, yeah, go right ahead. And he's like, well, I want to do like a full interview. Like, he's like 7-8 minutes. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, on the news live. Yeah, going live broadcast.
So
that's huge.
It was amazing. And at this point, the business is growing like super big in that January time. And I knew like what it could possibly do, going on the news. We set it up for like 2 weeks out. I signed some contracts. We got it all straight away. So shout out Eric. He made it super smooth for me. And we still stay in contact to this day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we still go out to lunch. Like,
nice.
You never know.
So maybe see you on KOA again soon.
Maybe. But I genuinely, I think he's a good guy, and anyone I meet, I think I see the good in everybody. Yeah. That's always something I live by. Whenever it comes down to that, though, we did a whole interview. We did B-roll shots by detailing a GTR, and the whole news clip is still online. If you guys look up Sebastian Wolfgram, kid uses internet to make money and start a business. It was pretty cool. It was definitely one of the. It was a really cool experience. I was so nervous during the interview, but
that's a
now
big
if I
moment,
did it now, I wouldn't be as bad. I feel like it's not really as bad. You can kind of realize I'm talking millions of people on TikTok, but there's only a certain amount on the news. So what I realized was, this is going to help my business. They launched it during the Olympics. And so viewership was sky high.
Really? During the Olympics? I know it was during right around, no, it was during the Super Bowl. Because I was in LA. That's how
really?
Because I was in LA the weekend the Super Bowl went off, and I saw it, and I was like, good shit.
Okay,
man.
so there was
that's awesome.
There was 3 events. There was 3 events that happened. There was the Olympics, there was a Super Bowl, and then there was also my birthday. They launched it. It was crazy. They launched it on all the days. So I mean, you gotta think. The next day, I remember one time. So the first 2 were super. There was 4 showings. The first 3 were super solid. I didn't think they were going to show it again, and we were getting just calls. It was pretty solid. It was mainly details. I wouldn't say it really exploded my company, but it definitely did help by gravitating people towards the business. And they were like, "Oh, I saw you in the news." I'd go around town and people were like, "I saw you in the news." It'd be older people. It wouldn't.
Yeah. The people watching KOA.
Yeah. The people actually watching KOA. So I realized that, and what I realized was that these viewings are very, very helpful.
Yeah.
They're getting us some traffic. I posted on, TikTok, the whole news story. Everybody was flipping out, oh my God, it's so cool. And on my birthday, they launched it one more time. On my birthday, I woke up.
Did they know? Did you let them know that was your birthday? Maybe it was a birthday treat?
I don't know. I don't know if they knew, but I think it was just they had an extra spot and they threw it in on my birthday.
Well, that's awesome.
That's I woke up and my phone, I think I woke up pretty late because I was snowboarding the day before, and then on that day, at this point, the business is running itself. It's pretty solid. Yeah. I can trust the guys, and shout out to the guys that I had at the time. Amazing. You guys definitely did help out with a lot, being able to grow this. But I was snowboarding, and the next day I woke up kind of late. I think we're doing a late run, and I checked my phone, and there was some big, there's a big dealership that wanted to meet with me. And so I lined up a little thing during that morning. I was doing a few phone calls. I was flipping out a little bit,
That's definitely a game changer.
I was pretty hype. I was this is actually happening. I was still working on my birthday, which I shouldn't have. You got to give yourself some time at some points. And I, was getting stuff done. I was checking out and, checking out what the calendar was looking like. We were booking paint corrections, ceramics, some cool cars.
Yeah.
So I came back, locked in my first contract for a dealership, started doing, some cool cars, from the dealer. And I eventually found myself taking on a lot more than I expected, because this was March really at the time, was when I was really diving back deep into it, and I was taking on a lot because I was trying to get these product lines up. The products you can see behind me, there's even more than what this is. Yeah. The products, I wanted to get those up.
Yeah.
And I needed to move into a shop because I needed the product space to be inside my garage. I start all my companies out of my home first before I file any.
That's great advice about not overextending yourself in the beginning, trying to, whatever your idea is, whether it's your case detailing, if you have a garage, like, dude, start in your garage, or like with my podcast, in the first few episodes, I was like, I'm gonna do it out of like my bedroom. And then, with this episode, I was like, the shop's cool, let's do it here. Yeah, but the same idea applies of like, don't overextend yourself. Even like, I've known other detailers that like, I started in a, like Kobe said, he started in his WRX or whatever, and that's how he started getting his clients and, making money with the idea before spending money on the idea is huge. And
you don't need the best of the best. It's all about starting small and seeing where it goes, because if it fails, you're stuck.
Right.
So I realized to start everything out of my garage, and I need that space so I can start the car chemicals, and I can get those in, I can get things started up. So what I did was I rented like an RV storage unit downtown in that area. Interesting setup. It worked for a short period. I signed like a 1-year lease, and I eventually had to break the lease because I was just growing way too quickly. I moved in, it was like 560 square feet. I should have gone a little bit bigger. I should have gone like 2,000 square feet.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I was realizing it was working because we were only doing paint corrections and ceramics, and we were making a lot more money inside of that warehouse space than we were ever in my garage.
Right.
And started getting the products in. Products were in May. April was one of my worst months ever. Things were like catching on fire. Equipment was breaking. And that's when we moved into that shop. So it was like April 15th we moved in. It's my first shop. I was so hype. I was going crazy on social media. I was like, yo, I just moved into this shop, like check it out.
New shop, let's go.
New shop,
Got
videos were blowing up. They were like, everybody was like, oh, hype, and all it was just a big garage door. Like,
hey man, I got the job done.
I was so happy that like the view was cool. Like, I looked over downtown. I was like, the mountains were right there. Like, actually, Garland. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
for $900 a month.
It made good reels and stuff. I remember seeing the reels, and I was like, good,
pretty solid content.
It was awesome
good content
to see,
in
man.
there.
You do. You have a knack for social media content, and I think that's something that anybody looking to learn more from Sebastian, like really, you got to pay attention to the way this guy does social media content, from reels to YouTube to
I don't even
everything,
really
man.
Promote, I guess, like what I do, like whenever it comes down to
show
like,
it.
I just show it.
Yeah,
like, and that's like one thing is like I'm not gonna be out here like promoting what I actually do. I just if y'all see it, y'all see it. Like that's how I'm gonna be. I don't need to like prove anything. Like there's nothing to be proved. I just love doing it, and if you see it, you see it, and if you want help, I can help you out.
Yeah.
It's obviously going to cost something, so just letting y'all know.
Nothing in the world's for free.
Nothing is free.
Yep.
But moving to this place, $900 a month, however much in utilities, and it was working. Like, it was working pretty solid. It was a little scary, obviously, because like first warehouse, but like I didn't realize like $900 a month is nothing.
Yeah,
I was like, for a shop space that's producing this much income, like, because at that time we were producing good money, and I was very, very happy at the time, and I got these car chemicals out in May, released those. I sold out of most products in 2 days.
Really?
At a large order, and I sold out of most product. And I had my whole garage filled with car chemicals, like filled. And I was doing these live streams. So what I was doing is at this point, I was working. It was May, and what I was doing is I wanted these products to sell like crazy. So what I'd do is when I first dropped it, I would pretty much work from 6 a.m. till about 5, post a TikTok at 6 to 7 p.m., eat, go live stream from 8 p.m. till about 2 a.m. in the morning. And I would just pack orders on live. And that first weekend, we sold out of most of our products. And I think it was an insane amount of money that we brought in. And like,
how much are you willing to talk about? Like, what was the investment like to get Show Car off, and then kind of some of the returns there? Because I know that's like, again, that's one of those steps that kind of puts you ahead of like the general path. I feel like a lot of people take with getting into something like detailer service is like being willing to bite the bullet and drop the kind of money you need to get your own products out
I
there.
did drop a lot of money on the actual products. Investment for products can span between like 30 and 50K.
Yeah.
And at that point, like at that point, I was just really relying on selling them, because I needed to make sure that they actually sold. And that was, it's a lot, especially with a lot of the custom products we were making. It could be, I was testing products for months and months and months and seeing what worked. And I eventually found the ones that worked, especially for my company and what would possibly sell. Coming up with designs, logo ideas, labels, sourcing, everything was a pain.
Yeah.
But we got everything set up, and that could be like the investment on like a product side. And whenever I was doing products and everything like that, it was really more about offering it to, like, let's say people my age want to start their own detailing company, but I didn't know car chemicals, so I wanted to make it easier for people to understand them.
Right.
And that's why I just simplified it. I was using like 30 different car chemicals inside that van.
Which one is the most popular right now?
Voodoo.
Voodoo?
Yeah, Voodoo.
Okay,
number one seller. Always. Voodoo is the purple one.
And what is Voodoo again?
It's a wheel and tire cleaner.
Okay, that's right, yeah. Wheel and tires.
That is the number one. And I've definitely noticed that sells well. Show foam sells well. Interior Pro. The one that took the most time to be able to develop was Interior Pro.
Really?
Because I just wanted like an overall like just solid cleaner that foamed real well, smelled nice, left a nice finish. And it worked for my company, and that was the one that I landed on. And so I created these products, and I was going live until like 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m., and I literally would not sleep. And I would pack my Tacoma up every single day with my Tacoma bed was a long bed, and I'd fill it up to the top of the cab of the bed of the truck with orders twice. So I'd do 2 runs of UPS, just filled, sometimes 3 runs, and just deliver them. And UPS did not like me. They did not, because they were like, it was just so much.
Yeah.
They told me to schedule pickup. I was like, what pickup?
You're like, I'm just dropping it off.
I'm just dropping it off. I'm just getting it done. I've already paid. And so I was doing that. Eventually sold out of a lot of her products, and so I realized I needed to, start making more. So I started making more that following week, and I just tried to keep up. I had a time where I really I couldn't stay in stock of a lot of things, and now that I obviously show car care is just more. Now it's funding itself instead of me kind of throwing money into it. It's now staying a lot more in stock. I'm able to keep all of your guys' favorite products in stock. The only thing I'm really kind of running out of stock on is our kits that are just selling like crazy. Yeah. Show car kit, wheel and tire kit, like those sell, and I got to stay in stock of those. Yeah. So out of these live streams, I was selling, $3,000 a night in products, and that was actually just on like an average night. I'd have bigger nights as well. Like I just went live stream the other day and made like a little over 1,000 in like a few hours.
Yeah.
And it was the first live stream I've jumped back onto, but I just moved into my new, fulfillment warehouse, and I was like, why don't I just go live? It'd be fun. I don't really need to sell the products; they sell all day. But I think it'd be fun to come back on and go back to what I was doing before. And it was a lot of fun. It's just tiring. Like you just get tired.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on with you. Good headway. You're somebody that is wearing a lot of different hats. You're trying to take care of a lot of different things, and I know online you can find opinions of people that either do believe it, they don't believe it. But what do you do, or what would you say has helped you, stay away from what most refer to as like burnout? From all the different things that you're trying to juggle and maintain. I
get burnt out all the time, man. Yeah. And I think it's more of a mentality thing. I have to let myself burn out. So what I like doing is going somewhere and like going to travel. Yeah. And I'll work for like 2 to 3 months, even just sometimes just a 1 month just straight, just hard. Like right now I'm going hard because at the end of this month I'm trying to go travel for 2 weeks and not have to worry. So I just go travel and I take time, and it actually brings back fresh ideas. But whenever I do like work, it's 7 days a week. I don't go out. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do anything like, crazy. Yeah. If I ever do go out, it's just to meet people, meet connections, and, hopefully, because I kind of realized I was like, okay, I need to start like going out a little bit and like meeting people, because that's one of the best things you could ever do is just get to know people.
100%. Shaking hands is the best form of marketing yourself.
But burnout is a real mentality thing. You could have burnout and you cannot have burnout. It depends on the person and what they're set up to be.
David Goggins doesn't have it.
Yeah. And I personally let myself have it. Because I need to take,
well, I get what you mean, which is saying that, I wouldn't even say it's necessarily burnout as much as it's having,
it's just more of like,
figuring out a balance.
It's a balance. It's a balance. It's not even burnout. It's just finding a balance. And, I have really hard times balancing things. And I think I realize that the more and more I do this, because I more focus on big things. I focus on big things I want to do with the company and I want to do. And I am so bad at balancing things. I've lost relationships. I've lost like friends. I've lost, so many different people, but there's nothing better than doing something for yourself when it's needed. Right. And that's not being selfish. That's doing something that is needed for yourself to become who you want to be and give back later on.
Well, I think,
and the people that have stuck around and they have, realized like, I might, all I do is talk about business or do business or, all this. They realize like, this is what I love to do. Why would I change this up for anything else? Like if I could and it's not even like the money part, like the money stopped. Like everybody, if you guys can ever do anything, don't chase money, have a purpose behind it. I want to grow the company. I want to see it in different states. Like I want to see it happen. Yeah. That's not gonna be like, I want to make this amount of money. Yeah. Once you get there, you're going to want more.
Right.
Like
it follows,
motorcycle.
Somebody's ripping.
I genuinely, everything happens. Everybody's always chasing money. That's like one of those things. Yeah. Everybody's trying to get rich quick. Everybody's trying to find. It's just take the long game. Figure out because this took 2 years to be able to put together. It's like it's not like an overnight like shenanigan. Yeah, like I've dealt with so many different types of situations. So what I would say is don't chase money, chase the growth, and just have fun throughout it. Like I have so much fun. Like my life has changed for the better, and it's been an amazing. It's been an amazing 2 years. I would not change one thing because I can learn from I love failing. That's also one thing. I love failing because it teaches me something. Whenever I succeed in something, I'm like, wait, well, that was good, but like, where's the failure at? Like, I'm like looking for it. I'm like, what could I have possibly done better so I can learn and get better?
100%.
Grow.
Those failures are going to show you, well, obviously, one, what didn't work, but then also two, I think it's instinctual as, for us as humans, we hate the feeling of like, it's that survival instinct, and failing kind of threatens that. And so it's learning, like really feeling like, oh shit, I do not like that feeling. So I'm going to do like 10 times better at this to make sure that doesn't happen again.
And I'm so like involved with like government taxes and credit and all that stuff that no one wants to talk about. But one of the best things I ever did for myself is get business credit right away.
Really?
Yeah, get business credit because like now it's easy. Like I have business credit ever since I started the company. Any company I've ever started has business credit right away. Build your personal credit. When I turned 18, I
got a credit card.
I got a credit card.
That was my birthday gift to myself. Yeah, I get that. I get that. My mom was like, why? Why? And I was like, well, like, how am I going to buy a house? You know what I mean? How am I going to be able to do any of these things that all require credit? And it really is key to build those skills and what I'd say are tools on your belt of life.
And what I did was when I turned 18, I bought my first credit card. And then when I was 19, I took out my first auto loan.
There you go.
To be able to get my truck. Yeah. It was a Toyota Tacoma at the time. And I did it all myself. No co-sign or nothing like that. And that credit card allowed me to do that. Yeah. And I know it sounds a little like bad, like, oh, I got an auto loan. No, that's a good thing. I try to keep it
within reason, though. Right?
Within reason, obviously,
some people that are like, the Hellcat.
Because I was like making money and like I understood I needed the truck for work, and then I also genuinely like needed an auto loan on my credit so I can be able to. Because the more they see that let's say it's a $30,000, credit, they're going to see that you're paying that off. They're going to allow you to get a $50,000, a $60,000. They're going to be like testing it, see if you could, and it's just going to continue to grow.
Right.
That's how it works. And so that's what I did with business, and it worked out very, very well. But back to failure, like I didn't mind failing throughout, this whole everything. And going back to the whole story too, it was June time, and I was genuinely figuring out I was trying to figure out how I was failing with the products. What was I doing wrong? And one of the biggest things I ever did wrong was not packaged correctly. And
really?
Because so many orders would come back and they'd like it'd be like broken or it's car chemicals. Like they're gonna spill.
Interesting. Yeah, plastic bottles breaking. I mean, that makes sense, but and that's a huge time expenditure. You're good, man. Yeah, no problem at all. Things stay moving even while recording.
Yeah, I know. It's just I gotta check.
You're good, man. No problem at all.
I'm so addicted to my phone,
dude. Well, it's a healthy. What'd you say the other night?
It's like a healthy.
What games do you have on your phone? You got Amex.
Oh, I genuinely don't have any games. I just have like Amex and like QuickBooks and Messenger and all that. I have a lot of socials. I like TikTok. I'm very, very addicted to TikTok, but I also make content on TikTok, so it also helps. I use things moderately, in moderation. But back to the story, I created Show Car Care for a reason. I wanted to, increase revenue, decrease expenses, but I actually found myself spending a lot of money on fixing products. I eventually added heat shields to all the bottles, added like these thicker caps, if you notice those. So they're, child safety locks. So
okay, like the difference between these two.
And there's a difference between those two. Yeah. There's still some, like this one is probably one of our last ones that we actually have the other bottle. And you can see the other ones are thick.
Actually, that is fun.
It's actually one of the last ones. So, we're still selling them, but, we try to sell them in stores so that no one breaks them during shipping.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. There's like little things that just have to get sorted out. And if you don't have those, it could turn into a whole mess. And I was realizing I was spending so much on redoing shipping. I should have just spent the 5 cents to get them heat shield before I sent them out. And whenever it came down to that, I was just finding mistakes and fixing them. Eventually sold out pretty quick of all the products. And it was June time. We had a really good month in June. It was a really solid month for Show Car Care and Show Car Auto Spa. I think that was definitely a very, very high month in revenue. And I know I needed to get a bigger space.
Yeah.
It was not working. I was like, it was stressful. I was not in a good like area during that time, like a mental kind of like state. Like everything was going smooth, but like you're just stressed.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot. And you're trying to make it work. And I'm actually working on building the ceramics at this point. I was actually working on building the ceramics when I was building the car care brand. The ceramics just take longer. It's just because I wanted it set up correctly and like with a purpose. I didn't want to just like throw ceramics out in the market. Like there was a purpose behind why I made the ceramic coatings. So I was jumping into paint protection film during this time. Everything was going wrong. Every car was coming back. I was losing a lot of money with that, and it was frustrating. I eventually bought a plotter, which is like a big machine that plots it for us. So that saved a lot of time and a lot of money. But during this time, all of my employees left. I'm just going to be straight up, like they left. The grass is always greener on the other side, right? But that's okay. Like, I wasn't, like, frustrated. Like, I was paying them well. Like, I was, making sure they're taken care of. I wanted them to have, like, a good time. But they had an opportunity that they wanted to do their own thing. That's fine. But I'm going to continue to do what I do. So they told me on, like, a Saturday. And then on Monday, on Sunday, I stayed up for, like, 72 hours straight. Because I was scared. I thought there was going to be like, this is a turning point in the business where this could possibly fail. Right. So what I did is I didn't dwell on the problem like most people would. I always tell everybody I ever meet, don't dwell on problems, face them and accomplish and overachieve and overcome the problem. Right. Be proactive within the problem. So being as proactive as possible, what I did was I stayed up for 72 hours straight, posted everywhere that I'm hiring. And I had on Monday, they wanted to stay for like 2 weeks. I was like, I just need to get this sorted now. I don't want to wait. On Monday, I hired the first guys, and one of the first guys was Kobe. Kobe, thank you again for taking the chance with me. You're running your own company, and I appreciate you very deeply.
Great guy.
Kobe stepped in, and I just told him, I was like, I just need this is what I need, and I want to make it work, and let's have each other's back, because like it's better to be with multiple people than by yourself. Right. It always is. Right. So, and then I hired 4 other people at that point. So we had like 5, 6 guys, something like that. I'd have to think. Yeah, 5, 6 guys, including a cameraman. So I had a cameraman at that point, filming videos, stuff like that for the TikTok, Instagram, taking photos. And the other guys left. There was like 3 of them, and I had 6 guys ready to go on Monday. So Monday morning.
That's a turnaround.
Yeah. I was interviewing all Sunday. It's like all Sunday I was just interviewing. I'd meet him at the warehouse, ready to go. And, you know, I turned away some people. I definitely turned away. I just didn't think they were a good fit. But whoever was a good fit, I let them on and I gave them a chance. And thank you guys. You know, if you guys are watching this, I don't know if you guys are, but they keep up. I've seen, you know, they always say they're keeping up with everything. They stop in and always, I love all the employees I've ever had, and I wish the best for all of them. But I genuinely knew it was going to go into work. I knew that there was opportunity within me making this happen. Yeah. Started training them right away. Kobe handled all the jobs. That was like my one big thing. Kobe handled all the jobs that needed to get done. So we moved everything to mobile as much as I could to mobile. So like he could just go out and then I can train back at the shop for like 4 or 5 days and just get that knocked out. So I was training. I was there getting stuff done. It was, you know, very, very hectic. You know, it was a very, very hectic July. Because what I decided to do was that July, I took an even bigger risk at that point because I was like, okay, this isn't going to work out of this warehouse. We're probably about to jump into a recession because I watch the economy. I'm very, very big into like macroeconomics. Yes. Very big into that. That was one of my favorite classes in college. I went to college for a year, if you guys didn't know. And macroeconomics, microeconomics, everything. Yeah. I was so fond of. So all I do, like, you guys should see my YouTube. It's just like macroeconomics and like just watching like graphs and like it's very, very interesting if you guys.
I'm the same way.
I love seeing where my money is going.
Right.
You know,
that's the way the world turns. I think, in my opinion, and most, that money rules the world above anything, any sort of leadership, and
it helps my business
the trends,
and like understanding what money is, and right. Like, so I was studying it. And I was like, hey, we're probably going to go into a recession. I got to figure out like where is going to be like a solid base to like where I can still get work, you know, because I'm in like a RV storage unit. Like this isn't going to work. Like we have like 6 guys in here. It's 500 square feet. There's no bathroom. The guys are peeing in bushes. No, no, like genuinely, I couldn't even hire a girl because I'm like, it ain't gonna work. Like so many people were asking for jobs. I was like, I need to create more opportunities. Like we're making good money. That month, we made the most money we've ever made. And shout out to Kobe because Kobe handled most of the jobs that month. Like, absolutely killed it. I was so happy, and we had some late nights. We always did every single night, but it paid off. Like we were there all day, all night. And at the end of July, Kobe allowed me to step back and find a place. I told him, I was like, I'm trying to find a place. I tried to move in as quick as I could. I found 2 places, and they were so polar opposite of each other. One was on the south side, one was on the north side. I was like, this isn't going to work. Like, they're one's super expensive, one's super, not expensive. Yeah. I eventually found this place, and it was a no-brainer. Yeah.
It's a great location.
Great location. I looked at, I had my realtor find it for me, and just absolutely knocked it out of the park with this one. And I knew it was going to work, and the landlord was super cool. And I just knew it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. And it was expensive, definitely very, very, very expensive move, from $900 a month to $4,200. Yeah.
It's a big jump.
In a couple months. Wow. So moved into this place, and so what I did is I took 2 guys and I put them on this. So painting. This was all green when we first moved in. Painting, getting stuff done around the shop, putting stuff up, prepping, getting floors done. We have wood floors we had to get done, and just making the outside look pretty, etc. And then what we would do is mainly push everything to mobile because we're moving out of that warehouse. We're trying to move stuff over. So we'd have everything mobile at that point. And we finally moved in September, early September, end of August. Yeah. That's what I would say. End of August. Yeah, end of August we eventually moved. It was a month of trying to get everything done because it's expensive. Moving into this place was very, very costly, and I made so many mistakes moving to this place. I did not know. My floors, I shouldn't have done them a certain way. I should have bought different things. There was just so many wrongdoings, and I lost a lot of money. But at the same time, we were still making income by doing a lot of mobile stuff and also using the shop that we had before. I kept the shop that I had until I officially moved into here just so I can make sure that everything was going solid. And eventually moved in. First car was a Dodge Charger. We did a paint correction and ceramic on, and we filled the shop within the first week. Or within the first day, we actually officially moved in. We filled up the shop and made a good amount of money. And I was very, very happy at that point. And we were getting in bigger jobs. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever done. Because you don't get better than like moving into a place and then just packing it right away. And
right.
I couldn't do that at the other shop. It was a 1-car shop. This is 7-8 cars. So you got to think this whole place was just filled with like 7-8 cars. Like it was insane. So at that point I knew it was going to work. I actually, at that point I had to figure out my employee situation because, we were going into fall time and we were getting busy, but I needed really, really good responsibility around the shop. I needed
put in some leadership.
I needed leadership roles, like, and that was one thing I really needed to focus on was like really developing like an employee like system. So I hired Patrick around this time when we first moved in. Great guy, and I just knew it was a good fit. And I'm actually now a business partner with Patrick for Peaked Events. Peaked Entertainment.
I hope to have him on soon.
Yeah,
if you're
they're
watching,
going to be on. Don't worry. And maybe I'll even join in on
That'd
that
be cool.
podcast.
That'd be cool. The whole Peaked crew. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, and I think that would really, because we're all sparking ideas.
Right.
I think we're all different in our own ways in like how we create ideas and like how we go about things. We all have different roles in the company. Yeah. But we'll get into Peaked later.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So whenever I was in here, we got packed pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I was selling car chemicals. I eventually moved the car chemicals pretty quickly out of my garage, and I moved them into Ross's warehouse. So he was a buddy of mine, and he had he was actually a neighbor of my other warehouse, but he had an extra warehouse downtown. He was like, hey, I don't mind fulfilling this for you. So I was like, perfect. It worked out, worked in, both of our favors for quite a while. Yep. But I just knew I needed to expand the company and get it bigger. So this place I moved into, it was like 3,000 square feet roughly. And then there was a whole nother side to this that's almost another 3,000. And so what I did, I'll get back into that later, but I eventually took over the whole building. But at this point, that's what was kind of going on with the car chemicals. I was building the ceramics. This is during like August time. I was hiring more employees. I was trying to get things going. During October. During that time, we were pulling all-nighters here back to back to back. Kobe did a 72-hour no sleep. I didn't believe it, but I was here. So I obviously believed it. But I was here the whole time.
But that's just that kind of work ethic that, honestly is pretty rare to find. And,
it is.
And you're fortunate to have found.
It is. We both wanted to grow. And, we were both very, very motivated because we wanted to make it work. We both want to. Like, I want to see Kobe succeed just as much as he wants to see the company succeed, just as much as he wants to see me succeed. But I want to create as many opportunities as possible. And I was like, Kobe, this is a chance. He was touching every single car that was coming in, as much as possible. Yeah. Now he doesn't touch as many cars, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And I told him that was going to happen. I always tell him what is going to happen, and it happens. And he's always said that. I wish he was on the podcast. He would say
that'd be cool. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
Maybe I'll make that happen.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys will get to see Kobe. He's a killer. Super nice guy.
He is.
And now the proud owner of the R34.
Yep. Now he owns the R34. He bought that in October. Yes. So getting to that point. Yeah, he bought the R34 in October. I just didn't drive it, man.
I know. It's such a shame. I was like, dude, you're sitting on Godzilla and you're just letting it hibernate in the middle of the summer.
It's just
but you're a busy guy. I'm just
busy,
giving you shit.
Man.
I know you're a busy guy.
I didn't really have that ambition to really drive it too much.
That's fair.
It was a cool car, but like I don't know, maybe put like 1,000 miles on it. Maybe. I don't even think that much.
I put 5 miles on it.
Yeah, he put some mileage.
It was awesome. Yeah, I will say
it was pretty cool. I put a lot of maintenance into a lot of money. Yeah. It was really, really cool car to have. But he wanted it more, so I let him have it.
There you go.
During October, we got absolutely slammed, and then on November, we went to training for PPF training.
Yep.
Last November in 2022, went to PPF training because I wanted to add PPF again. I wanted to try it. You never give up. I still had the plotter. I kept the plotter. I thought about selling it at one point, but I was like, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work for me to sell it and then have to go buy another one when I want to get back into it. So just keep it, sit on it. I sat on it, moved into this place, moved it in here, and I was like, I need to add PPF. Added PPF by going to training. And then that whole month of November, we were booked up with PPF. I don't know how that happens, but like it just like
it just
the universe just like sends stuff.
You gotta love it, because I feel like I saw you guys go to training, like,
and we were just
socials and stuff, and then
banging.
And then it was like next day is like all the cars are
and now
PPF,
like
so I was like
all the cars behind me, like that car is PPF, the other car behind there is PPF. Like PPF is
and that's like honestly probably in my opinion even better than getting a detail. You know what I mean? That's like your ceramic coating, arguably.
And those jobs are like
in Colorado. That's necessary.
They're like $2,000 to $3,000 for like just even front end PPF. Whole car is $8,000 to $10,000. They can go up to $15,000.
I'm curious what if you don't mind saying, what is like the highest job you've done? Because I've been pretty surprised by what people are willing to pay for that. Like, of course, they're protecting.
I've had like one person bring in like 3 cars for like $25,000.
That's wild. Yeah, that's somebody that loves their cars though.
They love their cars, but they're nice cars, and they actually got a really good deal on them. And I think the biggest single job is probably like 13, maybe 13,
what
15.
Car?
Probably a truck.
It was a truck. Yeah, that sounds about right for the size. And
yeah, it's usually the trucks cost a little bit more. Sports cars aren't as bad. People don't realize that. Like trucks are the ones that cost the most.
They're huge. It's a square footage game for the most part.
Massive.
Yeah.
And they take up so much material, so much time, and so much space. Yeah. But yeah, during November, went to training for the whole week out in California. Brought all my guys. Spent so much money. We went to sushi every single day. I just absolutely loved it, and it was a great time. I want to take my guys on another trip.
Yeah.
I couldn't get over it. There was just something about going out to California, like staying in Newport. We went to Suntech training. It was such a cool experience. Yeah. Learned all different types of things. We were already doing PPF, but like we just wanted to know how to do like full cars and really get into it and make a lot of money.
Really be professional.
And really be professionals. Yeah. We've done a lot, but this is what really enacted us to do more.
Right.
And then I came back, and then I came back on a Saturday, and then that Sunday, I got a call. My mom passed away. So that happened November time, or like right before Thanksgiving. That was like 3 days before I was supposed to fly out to go see her.
That's tough, man. Again,
that was hard. So no one expected it. I didn't expect it. I was going to visit her like once a month, and not once a month, but as much as possible. And not many people realize that. Like, I'd go to Florida, and people thought I was like having fun and like doing all these like crazy things, but I'm not a crazy guy. I don't think I ever will be. I have fun where I need to be, but like I was there to like see my mom and like because she had brain cancer at the time, but she got over it, so she like got over the whole thing. Yeah. But she still passed away after the whole like chemo and like proton, and there's a lot of things, and then her heart gave out before Thanksgiving, before I was supposed to see her. So all of a sudden that's happened, and then I called up Kobe. I told him about actually had a meeting that morning at like 6 a.m. on a Sunday. I think it was with Josh. And I told Josh, I was like, Josh, there's some type of emergency. I have no clue what it is, but it's 6 a.m. in the morning. I never get these calls. Yeah. It's not something that's like normal. I had a feeling it was probably going to happen. And then, I called Kobe, and I was just like, hey, my flight was already booked was not booked. Not booked. Or maybe it was. I moved something. I lost money somewhere. I think I moved the flight. I'm not 100% sure. I just remember something happened. It was such a crazy mental kind of time in my life. I really don't remember too much.
Yeah, that's fair.
So what I did is hung out with family, just made sure that they were okay. Obviously, it was tough, but I got really, really close to my mom in the past couple of years, and that was like I think the hardest thing. I grew up with her, and I always loved being with her, but got super close. I called her every single day. Like it was like a routine like kind of thing. Yeah. She'd send me care packages, so that sucked. Eventually, I called Kobe. I was like, take care of everything. I'll be back in December. I'll figure out when I want to fly back. So I was down there for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. I stayed at my buddy Colin's. Shout out Colin Gomez. I appreciate everything. Just got everything sorted out. Hard time in my life. I slept insanely. I did not work. I just slept. And like, that was it. Slept and barely ate. That was a weird time in my life. I would be up all night from 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then it was such an odd time.
Yeah.
And I came back.
Reasonably so.
And I tried to fix myself at the end so I could come back and it was a little bit easier. Came back. I had a little bit of a fresh mind. It was kind of tough, but, I came back and I just went right back to it. I had December to launch my marketing company officially after a year of not launching it. And then I had to launch the ceramics, so I had to get those up. And I just knew that she would want me to continue what I'm doing. And, she's watching somewhere. So I just continue to do what I'm, getting into. And at that point, it was kind of a haze.
Yeah.
In November and December. That was that was kind of like a foggy moment in my life. In January though, launched a lot of stuff, got a lot of stuff up, got the marketing company, got the ceramics line all kind of officially up in February time. And things still hit you, man. You still get these times that just get hazed out.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about it now, I'm losing my thought and train of where I was going to go with all of this, but yeah, you get hazed. You kind of get a foggy brain. Yeah. Once that hits past that, it's really odd. Yeah, it's a really odd type of feeling. Because I still think about calling her. I still think about picking up the phone and calling her, and it's weird. It's a weird you just lose something. So, but I knew she still wanted me to continue what I was doing. So what I did was I pretty much told Kobe, I was hey, in December I'm going to be looking at stepping out and letting you run the shop. I want to bring in another talent that can fill in your position. So we brought in Fernando. Shout out Fernando, absolutely killed it, coming in and filling his role in and doing great with tint as well. Added tint to our lineup. Really just been focusing on paint corrections, ceramic coatings, tint, all that. Yeah. And dropped the ceramic line. We've been doing trainings, getting as many installers, as many locations. Showcar Ceramics is in 4 states as of now. And we'll have more Showcar auto spas coming soon as well. So different locations. Exciting. Very, very exciting. I took over this whole building for product fulfillment. That's where I'm at right now. So right now it's just in the future game plan is just building to, create opportunities for other people that want to, own their own show car. Whenever it comes down to licensing and franchising opportunities for people, I want other people to be able to, have an opportunity because I built this brand. It's a brand. It's not a company that just does stuff. It's a brand that is recognizable by anyone in the United States. We have people ship their cars every single week. And we are known for our quality. I will warranty anything that comes in here. Anything that I make, because I create my own ceramics, I create my own products. I work very, very closely with PPF companies, tint companies, and I also make sure my employees know what they're doing. I will warranty everything that comes out of the shop, whether that be a product, service, anything. Yeah. Because I believe in it, and I offer it for a reason. So I just believe in quality. I believe in honesty. I believe in transparency because that's where a lot of companies fall short on, and I believe I can become successful in that range. So,
man, you're setting the bar really high right now for everybody else I bring on because you're answering a lot of the questions I wanted to ask you about, what being a business owner is, how to go about handling certain situations and where to put your priorities. Of course. I hope all of you listening have been able to pick up on all those gold nuggets because I feel like the last hour and a half has been nothing but pure gold. Yeah. For you guys listening, if you didn't already, now there's really no reason not to believe that Sebastian is an absolute killer.
It's not even...
you make moves where other people wouldn't or don't even think they could or are possible to.
Yeah.
And
I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people don't like. They get scared and they get caught up. And I don't think everybody is meant to do this. No, I don't mind taking every single risk that comes my way as long as I'm able to calculate it and it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make dollars.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make dollars.
It's the truth.
And another one of my favorite quotes I want to throw in here towards the end. This is from Ben, who's behind the scenes, but you got to do what you got to do to get to do what you want to do. And I think that is something that I have been able to watch you do over the past few years is, we made slightly different decisions over the years and we've remained close. And you're somebody that, again, I consider a close friend and somebody that, I respect in a lot of ways. And I've been able to pick that up from you that like you're Vista's best kept secret because, there's a lot of people that went to school with you and I both and they're like, I didn't know Sebastian until now.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, dude, I've known them. Like, we were going snowboarding together.
Definitely.
You told me like, boom, 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 this is what I want to do. And you went out.
Tell them about before you tell them about that. The story about the Breckenridge story.
Yeah. So
that was funny. It was about the flipping and then the TikTok and all that.
So this must have been what, 20.
I was 16 at the time.
Was this 18 or 19? Maybe it was 19. It was
probably 19.
I think it was 2019 winter. We went to Breckenridge to go snowboarding together. And on our way up there, we're talking about social media because TikTok was just starting to blow up again. Like for the first time, this is like right after it changed from being Musical.ly. And, so you and I remember we were going up to Breckenridge and we're talking about TikTok and like the ways to use social media and how we'd both wanted to be doing YouTube growing up. Like, I'd always wanted to be a YouTuber. You did too.
Yep.
We both loved like gaming and cars. And so we were just spitballing like, dude, TikTok seems like it's going to be the next wave of like where to be an influencer and where to be online. And I remember we were sitting there. I remember we were coming up the front. I remember the lift and everything. I can see it all now. And we were talking about like, yeah, dude, like let's get on TikTok and let's start putting out content. And like you were a little bit more confident. You were like, I'm going to hit 1 million followers. Yeah. I think you said within like 6 months. Yep. And I'm pretty sure you came damn near close. If not, you did.
I within all my accounts, I hit 1 million. Yeah. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I was like, I want to take it down the gaming route. And I really should have. Like looking back on it, I did not commit to it. And that is probably, it's been as much as it's like, oh man, I want to like, slap myself for not sticking with it. It's also been a huge learning lesson. Like I'm young, so I know I can apply that to the rest of my life. That
time is so quick.
Well, just being consistent with your ideas and being consistent with what you want to do and having that faith, like you said, not having fear, but rather saying like, dude, if you truly believe you can do it, don't let anybody else tell you can't and just go for it. Yeah. And you'll be able to make it happen.
I don't even know. Like, I think people like knew who I was maybe, but they just didn't know of me. Like, in high school. Yeah. And I think like now that like I'm out and I'm like kind of doing my own thing, people are realizing and they're reaching out obviously, but I know like the people that were there and like in high school and everything like that. And so I like to keep in touch and, but it's all about who you know. It's all about keeping in touch with people. But that was like one thing is like, I told you, I was like, I wanted to be famous on TikTok. I eventually sold all my accounts, to be more business focused. And I really just being famous is not worth it. Yeah. It's like not. And that's what I realized. It's like, man, it's kind of shitty. It's just not like what I want.
It's just weird attention, you know what I mean?
It's weird
motives
it's not good attention. Yeah. And it could be good attention, but it could also be it turned really bad eventually. And it wasn't like what I wanted to do with my life. Yeah. So I eventually realized that, eventually sold all the accounts. And then I told you I was going to start flipping stuff. Yep. And I was just like, I want to make something happen. And it worked out. When I bought the van, I told Josh Klein I wanted to be the best detailer in Colorado Springs. I still have that saved. I thought it was pretty cool. And he said, go do it. And I did it. And, and it's been pretty cool.
It's been a wild ride.
I've seen numbers I never thought I'd see in my life. And it's been one of the most exciting journeys. And I don't even think the numbers really motivate me. It's really just, like I said, seeing the growth and seeing the opportunities I'm able to give to people. And, creating those, and I only live one life, so I would like to be at some point in the history books, like doing something amazing for good in humanity, whether that me being like a president or that me being doing something big within a business or whatever I decide to do. I would like to be in the history books at some point. So I'm like 20 years old, if you guys didn't know.
20 years old.
20 years old. So let's see what happens in the next 10 years, and then I'll go from there. But take calculated, if you guys can take anything from this, take calculated risks. And, I believe everybody has a purpose and everything happens for a reason. So Don't be turned down if it doesn't work out.
Right.
Pivot. Like, that's one thing I've always done with any of my companies is like pivot my companies, pivot what I'm doing, and sticking to my roots and what I know. Because I don't know certain industries. Like, I have the industries I'm in right now is like what I know. Yeah. I don't know certain industries. Like, what I know is what I know.
Stayed niche.
And if I don't know something, I'm going to hopefully grab help from someone else that knows it. And I would like to team up with them. Like, whenever I went in with Peaked, I don't know events. I don't know those things. So I teamed up and it worked out pretty well. So
there you go. That's how you grow.
Yeah. And that's how you grow. You put together a good team that knows different things. Like, they don't need to know all the same things. Like, different ideas are the best. Right. And as I continue to grow these brands, I'm trying to, grow them as much as possible. And they've been growing very, very steadily. I want to, hopefully bring on more talent and more people and create success for everybody. So if you guys want to, follow me on Instagram, Sebastian_Wolfgram on Instagram. And also follow my social medias for all my businesses. There's a lot of them. But
I will be putting some links down in the description links down for below. Those.
And if you guys ever want to learn from me, you guys can go to wolfgramuniversity.com. It's my last name, Wolfgram. Wolfgramuniversity.com. You guys can learn from me on there. Book a call. I actually do them a lot. So book a call on there, and I can teach you guys any questions, anything you guys have about business, money, doing whatever. I do this 24/7. So why not, pay someone that does this to teach you so you could skip a few failures and a few steps and, continue your success. Or start your success, whatever you want to do.
Right.
And, check out my pages, Showcar Auto Spa, Showcar Care, Showcar Ceramics, TikTok, Instagram, websites, order your products. And then also there's Social Refresh, which is my marketing company. Brandon runs that, absolutely kills it. We have a whole team on Social Refresh, and they've been doing great. And then Peaked Entertainment. If you guys want to go buy tickets, Peaked Entertainment.
The Hangar Hang. I do want to shout out. Yeah. Not to cut you off. Sorry. I just want to say the Hangar Hang. If you're in Colorado, look forward to this this summer up in Denver. Or is it Centennial specifically? You said
Centennial. Yeah.
Yeah. Centennial for the Hangar Hang event. I believe there's still a fair amount of general admission tickets to come and check out what they're throwing. It's going to be a crazy event. I'm going to be there. And I look forward to seeing what you guys put together for that. I know it's going to be a banger.
It's going to be really, really cool. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of opportunities within that company. Yes. It's a little bit slower. It's just how it is. There's certain companies that grow very, very quickly, and there's some companies that grow a little bit slowly, and you just got to understand which you're in. Right. But no, this is going to be a great year for Peaked. Definitely a lot different than last year. I came on early this year, end of last year, literally January 1st. And I've seen already amazing growth, and we have a lot of great ideas in the future. Same thing with Showcar. Showcar, I hope to have Showcars all across the nation by the end of this year, and also by the end of next year, I'll have even more. So now one of my future goals is getting into real estate. So
I'm excited to see what you do there, my friend.
Yeah, and I'm putting it there so I can hold myself accountable.
Yep.
And so I can watch this back and hold myself accountable in everything I do.
I'll clip it out.
And I always will. I always will. Genuinely. I always hold myself accountable, because if I say something, it will be done. If I do not say it and I keep it to myself, that's just because I don't have a 100% guarantee it will be done. So that's what I usually do within myself. I don't need to tell everybody everything about what I'm doing or what I'm planning on doing, because it's not a 100% guarantee. When I have a 100% guarantee because I know I can control the situation, that's when I say it's going to be done. And I have always been held accountable by everybody else, and I always tell people to, and it always works out. So if you guys can take anything from that, don't say things, because what it does, it releases a dopamine within your mind that you're actually going to be doing it. I'm going to start this or start this, and you're going to say, I'm working on this. The only thing that's actually getting done is you telling people. Yeah. And then eventually they could possibly steal the idea, or you're just sending dopamine into your mind that's telling you that the job's already done or you're already working on it, when you're really not working on it. You're just talking about it, and nothing actually gets done. Get it done first, show people, and then talk about it. That's what I do. I already have things in place for everything that I've ever talked about on this whole podcast, or I've talked about the past. All my employees know whenever I say something, it gets done. It could take time. It always takes time. And that's what great things are. They take time. So learn that, apply it, and don't tell everybody everything. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, boom. That's a great way to end it off. That's great advice. something I can attest to, and I can't argue with, and I'm sure everybody listening will be able to apply, all the different lessons and knowledge you've shared today to whatever their own aspirations and dreams are.
Of course.
Again, dude, I just want to say thank you for, having me over at the shop, for sitting down, talking with me, sharing your story. I'm your guy. I got love for you, man. I appreciate who you are and what you do. So
I'm excited to see where this podcast goes. So guys, follow, subscribe, and give some love in the comments. Whoever you guys want to see on next, if you guys want to see a part 2 with me answering more questions, because obviously this wasn't really.
We can keep going. I mean, last time we sat in for almost damn near 4 hours.
Well, we can cut it, and then we could possibly do a part 2 later on. And I think like a part 2 where he can more nail questions. If you guys have also any questions, please put them in the comment section, and then we'll use them in part 2 and do like a follow up. And
that's a great idea.
kind of like let you guys know what's kind of going on, and maybe even like a year from now we could be sitting in a new shop down in Florida or down in some other state, and be sitting there and talking about what life has thrown at me, because there's always something that's thrown out. So drop some comments down below, and whatever you guys want, shoot him Wyatt's way, because I know he'll make it happen. He wants to make it happen, so he wants to please you guys. He's here for himself, but he wants to please you guys.
Thank you, man. That's true. I'm here to put on a good show, share insight with people like Sebastian that have their hands in the dirt. They have the experience with the knowledge to share with you guys. I'm somebody that loves learning about business, finance, what it means to be an entrepreneur, and just like chase after your dreams. It's my goal to be able to sit down with people like Sebastian and people doing it, and extract their knowledge and their experience and try and share it with other people that are on that same mindset, and create a community around that. 1, to help with networking. 2, just to help with your own personal growth, like it's helped mine. I love listening to podcasts, so it was naturally something that I was interested in getting into myself. So here I am. I'm back. It was a little bit of a break, but 2023 is going to be exciting. I already have so many ideas lined up for what I want to release and share with you guys. So
of course,
I'm looking forward to what we have coming, and getting this out to you as well.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm always learning. I think it's like
am I.
I'm always learning. That's one thing I always have to be learning. Like I take things from so many different people, because I don't know everything.
Right.
I never will, and I don't think anybody else will. So, but no, thank you, Wyatt, for having me.
Yeah.
And I am super excited to see this release. So
absolutely.
All right.
That's it.
Signing out.
Yeah, we'll call it there.
Cool.
All right, man. Sweet.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Of course, yeah.
That was great.